Okay. Okay, sleeping mats. One of the most frequently asked questions about sleeping mats we get here at Land & Sea is, what is the best sleeping mat? And it's actually quite a hard question to answer because it depends on a whole lot of different variables. So today we are going to break down exactly what you need to look for and in turn how you choose which sleeping mat you should go for. To break down the sleeping mat category into micro chunks, we've got air mats, self-inflating mats, and closed cell foam mats. So air mats are like this one behind me, entirely air. There's a self-inflating mat, which is a mixture of air and foam. Then there is closed cell foam mats like this one here to my left. So first of all, we need to break the sleeping mat category down into little micro chunks to understand the types of sleeping mats that are available and what they're best for. So first of all, there are air mats like this one behind me. Most of them behind me actually are air mats. So it's just the material with air and little compartments within that hold the air. Now, because it's just air, they are the most compact and the lightest out of all the types of sleeping mats. They often pack down to about the size of a drink bottle, like this one here. Okay, so there's three main types of sleeping mats that we've got in the range here at Land & Sea. There's air mats, self-inflating mats, and then the closed cell foam. So we'll jump in and break down the pros and cons of each type. So first of all, there's air mats, which are like most of the ones behind me. They're almost entirely air apart from the main material itself, and they're made up of, there's tiny pockets that the air flows into to inflate the mat and give it its depth. Now, air mats, because they're almost entirely air, they pack down the smallest, often to the size of about a drink bottle, like this one here, but also they are the lightest. Now, this is the type that we'd recommend for thru-hikers, backpackers, anywhere where size and weight matters the most. The cons with this type of mat is, again, because it's almost entirely air, if you are to get a puncture, if there's any rocks or sticks that could puncture the mat, then you'd end up sleeping on the ground. Next, we've got self-inflating mats like this one behind me here. Now, these are a mixture of foam and air. So they're a mat that's filled with foam that has little holes within it. When you open the valve of the mat, the air flows in and that's what allows it to self-inflate. Now, these are often more comfortable because there's that additional layer of foam. They also often have a higher R value rating, which we'll talk about in a second, but essentially it keeps you warmer. And the cons of this mat are that because they've got the foam addition, they are often heavier and they don't pack down quite as small. And the third and final, and actually my personal favorite mat, which is right here, is closed cell foam. Now this one is the Switchback from Nemo. They are, as you can see, just a rigid foam mat that folds down, so definitely the most bulky as far as pack down size goes, and they can sometimes not be the most comfortable because they are just a layer of lightweight foam. But I really like the versatility of it because it does fold down into this shape here, which means, you know, you can have it resting on the ground and it makes quite a comfortable seat when you're sitting around the campfire or just at base camp. So now that we know what types of sleeping mats are available, we need to establish what R value and essentially what quality of sleeping mat you want to go for. So what R value means is essentially the thermal resistance of that mat. So how well that mat resists the heat loss through the ground. Now, the higher the R value, the warmer the mat is going to keep you. The lower the R value, the colder the mat is going to keep you. So to break it down into a bit of a cheat sheet that I like to use, an R value of 2 to 3 basically means your warm summer nights, 1 to maybe 2 season mat. An R value of 4 to 6 is generally more of your all-round 3 season, shoulder season mat. And then 7 and higher than that is your really warm mats that are used for like your extreme snow camping, alpine stuff. Here at Land & Sea, we have quality at the forefront of everything that we do. So we're very careful about what brands and types of mats we bring into the business. And so we carefully handpick every single mat. And that's why we stock the likes of Nemo and Cedar Summit and many others. Now, one other thing to consider is the shape of your mat. It might seem pretty simple, but there are different shapes that do different things. There's mummy style, which cuts out a bit of material so it becomes more compact and actually lighter overall. So if weight is a huge factor for you, then that is something to consider. There's regular and wide, which are both rectangle style mats, but the wide versions, you know, if you're a restless sleeper, then it gives you a bit more room to roll around on. Then regular, which is just a regular rectangle. That's what most people would go for if they're not so concerned about every little gram. And then there's the extra long or long versions if you're a taller person or just like the mat to extend a little bit further towards your feet. So now that we understand all of that, there's one question that'll be on your mind: what mat should I actually buy? So I'll go through some real world scenarios and what mat you should actually choose for that scenario. So if I were doing the Abel Tasman in summer, for example, I would choose a mat like this, which is the Cedar Summit Ultralight XR. Now, this has still quite a bit of thickness, so it's going to be really comfortable. It's got an R value of just over 3. So I go up slightly higher because, you know, there might be some colder nights when I'm doing a hike like that. But also because it's an air mat and mummy style, it means it's going to compact and take up as little room and weight as possible. Now, if you're doing something like the Tongariro Crossing, Routeburn, or any alpine trek or hike, then you're gonna wanna go for something like this. This is the Nemo Tensor Extreme. So it's got a much higher R value rating, actually one of the highest we've got at 8.5. Super, super warm. It's really thick, so it's gonna be really comfortable on those big hikes when you need really good rest. And it's also a mummy style air mat, so it's going to pack down super small and be nice and compact and lightweight for you. Now, if I'm doing something like the Whanganui Journey, where the canoe does a whole lot of heavy lifting, or a 1 or 2 night hike around Great Barrier Island, Waiheke Island, then I'll go for something like the Cedar Summit Pursuit or the Pursuit Plus, its bigger brother, where weight and size isn't so much of an issue, so you can afford to have a little bit of extra comfort in that self-inflating foam within them. Now, last but not least, my personal favorite, the closed cell foam. This is the Nemo Switchback. I mentioned it earlier. This is my favorite because when I just go camping with mates, I always take this along. There's often not as much comfort needed, and I just like that I can sit on my little pedestal around the campfire. Now, I know we're entering that time of year where a lot of our loyal Land & Sea customers are looking to upgrade their sleeping mat or for a new sleeping mat for a different adventure that they're going on. So my team and I have made sure that we're stocked up on all the best sleeping mats, along with the pillows and sleeping bags, everything that you need to make that next adventure a little bit more comfortable. If you want to dive more into the detail about how to select the best sleeping mat for you, then be sure to check out the buying guide in the description below this video. Look at this thing. That's why it's my favorite. Like an accordion. Woo, woo, woo. Matt, what sleeping mat do you use? Oh, Sealy Posturepedic. You can sleep on it.